Welcome to Life Bursts. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sarah. Today we're interviewing Josh from skater to skier. Let's see where we go on this adventure. Yes, welcome to Life Bursts with Matt and Sarah. We are chatting with Josh today, and on the table, for the people who aren't watching, that they're listening to this instead, we do have something, but I'm not going to tell you what it is right now. So thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Take us back to the beginning of your life. Where did life start out for you?
I remember life starting out being quite young on a family farm. We grew up with 10 acres and enjoyed being with my brothers. I've got 3 younger brothers. And so we spent a lot of the time playing in the dam, playing in the scrub. We had motorbikes and go-karts. We even had a nice border collie dog called Ted, who we inherited with the farm.
Right.
So when we got the farm, the dog came with it because they're moving into suburbia, and we got the dog and the go-kart and the motorbike that came inside the shed. So
Bonus.
we're quite happy with that.
Yeah. So 3 boys, lots of adventures, I imagine.
Yeah, lots of adventures.
Yeah.
Trying not to set the trees on fire.
How?
We're playing with matches
Right.
when we shouldn't be, but that was just a small story.
Yeah, okay. Well, we've got a beautiful photo here of the family on the tractor. So for our viewers sitting there, so 3 brothers and your dad.
Yep.
Who are your brothers?
I've got Dan, Matt, and Pete. So, we spent a good quality time together.
Did you all get along well as children?
We did, for being a whole family full of boys. We spent a lot of quality time together and played outside after we got home from school and spent most of the time outside. And we had our chore days and our sports days on Saturdays. And we liked doing a lot of sport.
And what about your mum? What was she like having 4 boys?
We had good quality time talking with her while we just came back from school, and while she was making dinner, we'd have nice chats and stuff together, and Dad helped me with homework, and so did Mum. Mum had to learn how to do the homework so that she could teach it to us. So, it was a nice process.
Yeah. What types of things did you do on the farm?
We were blessed enough to have a tennis court as kids, and we enjoyed playing tennis and also basketball, and we also did some inline skating. I got my first pair of skates about 13. And that took me on a good adventure, and had friends that also had skates as well. And we went down the underneath the pergola quite fast, and we ended up hitting a jump at the end of the pergola, and we'd get like 2 car widths wide. So we did lots of jumping in the
On
air,
your skates?
on the skates.
On a jump in
Yes.
the back veranda?
Yeah, so
Talk us through how that happens.
we had a chair, and on top of the chair we had a board, and then we had another board on top of that, which was quite flexy. So you hit the jump at a big speed and you get lots of air, and it was like a suspension jump. And so we had to see how far we could jump and also see how high we could jump, and we measured it by how many chairs that we could jump higher. So that was a good challenge.
It sounds really safe.
It wasn't too safe, but we didn't have any big accidents, so that was okay.
You did what I was
Okay.
going to ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any? There's got to be some stories of something along the line.
Yeah. I had quite a few experiences with jumps and going down hills quite fast. But I didn't crash, so that was good.
Okay.
But one of the times I went down a very steep hill, my brother Dan was on his bike, and then I held onto the back of the bike seat to try and slow down, but then his bike got the speed wobble, so I had to let go and keep going down the hill.
Wow.
We were probably going down the hill at about 70 k's an hour.
How did you stop at the bottom?
You wait till the hill flattens out. That's how you stop.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Just no choice. Just
No
hold on.
choice, just hold on, keep going.
Yeah. Wow.
Or put your arms out to try and slow down with the wind resistance. That's another way to do it.
Does that really work?
It does.
Really?
It definitely does.
Well, he's here today.
Yes. I'm
I also made a sat cart out of some rollerblade chassis, is what I put onto a little board, and you sit on the board and you go down the hills and you ski with your skates on the front, and so you can go down there and go off track as well as on the roads and whatnot. So
What does that mean? You made a board with.
so the board was about yay wide and about yay deep, and so you just sit on it and then you hold onto the board, and you use rollerblade wheels at the front to steer, and that's a nice way of doing like a luge kind of thing down a hill.
So these really are your own teeth?
Yes, they are.
Wow. So you unscathed through all of that.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fantastic childhood though, growing up.
Yeah, it's
brothers, adventures, lots of outdoors, lots of adrenaline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely lots of adrenaline.
So there was a motorbike as well?
The motorbike. Yeah. We had a Yamaha 80 which had a power band, and so that just gives you a good acceleration. And that was a good motorbike for starting off. And we also had a chip starter motorbike, which not many people would know what that is. You pretty much get a wedge, and then you wedge it into part of the motor, and then you push the motorbike, and then once it's going at a bit of a speed, you kick out the chip with your foot, and then it starts. And that's how you get the motorbike to start. It was a very old school motorbike. It had it was on constant acceleration, and the only way to stop it was to put the brake on. So it had no accelerator, it just had a brake. And so if you had no brake on, then you just go at top speed, and then you use the brake to slow down. So it was really interesting going around corners and stuff as well. And yeah, it was good fun. And the go-kart, which we got with the house, that was good fun. We had a few motorbike and go-kart races, and yeah, the go-kart had an accelerator, but it had no brakes, so you had to allow to stop if you're going too fast. You had to think in advance. Good fun.
Look at that, a motorbike with a brake but no acceleration, and a go-kart, the exact opposite.
That's right.
Wow.
This sounds like a wonderful time that you had growing up. It really does.
Yeah, so your world was really your brothers and your family for much of your growing up years.
Yeah. We also had friends that were mechanics as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like my dad didn't know too much about the motorbikes and the go-karts, but he said, I can help you with other things, but not that, which was fun. So we showed a bit of interest in the motorbikes and go-karts, so he's like, and yeah, we kept on going with it. So that was good.
Now with 10 acres, did you have a dam or a creek or anything like that?
So we had a front dam and we had a back dam. The front dam was safe enough to swim in, but the back dam was too deep. So we just hung around in the front dam for swimming and played with the windsurfer board on the dam and had a few things that we played with. And we had an island in the middle of the dam. So yeah, you'd walk across to the island. And then if you wanted to, we also had a swinging rope so we could swing into the front dam as well. Yeah, or just jump off.
Yeah. Were there fish or yabbies or anything like that in there?
We actually put a few fish into the dam, and so at the end we put a net the whole way across the dam to collect them all. And the yabbies in the dam, I think we introduced them, but I think that was a bad idea because they made holes in the clay so it didn't hold the water as much, and the dam kept leaking after then on.
Okay.
But yeah, we enjoyed catching yabbies, and we also ate them as well. So
how do you eat a yabby? What's the
boil them in water until they scream, and then they turn bright red, and then
I'm sorry, do they literally scream?
they literally scream. Yeah, it's not a nice process if you want to hear them scream. But they turn bright red, and then they're ready to eat. Yeah, they taste like lobster, I reckon. Not quite as good as lobster. They taste a bit more like mud, but
not bad from your own backyard. Though.
That's right. Not bad from your own backyard.
Yeah, a bit hard to get lobster happen.
So you get the ones that we had at home were probably about yay big.
Okay.
And so there's small ones and large ones, but we just cooked up the large ones. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, we're gonna come back and we're gonna hear more. I've learned something today. Don't cook yabbies if I don't want to hear them scream.
Yeah.
It's Life Burst, Matt and Sarah. We're chatting with Josh. We'll be back straight after this.
This is Life Burst with Sarah and Matt. We are chatting to Josh, and Josh, you've shared of your childhood, so many adventures, your brothers, lots of dangerous kind of activities, and you survived. You're here to tell
Yeah.
the story, but there were some accidents along the way. Tell us some of those experiences.
One of the first times going interstate for a Christian camp, my parents were like, "We'll leave Josh to have a good experience." And during the camp, near the very end, I was on one of those massive trampolines that has like an X in the middle, which is actually like a plus. The one that because you jump really high. Yeah, I just got on the trampoline, and no sooner had I got on that someone else jumped on too and double bounced me, and I landed on my stomach with the other guy landing on the back of my neck.
Ow.
And so I ended up going to hospital with a neck brace
Wow.
and stayed in hospital for about 2 or 3 days. And my parents were like, "And we let you go in this camp? How?" I survived the flying fox going into the dam that they had there at the lake. But that was a bit unexpected, having a trampoline accident.
Mm.
And that's just one of a few accidents I've had, which I think are like near-death experiences. But
Yeah, right.
through it all, God's got me through it all and saved me multiple times. So I'm quite thankful and grateful for that. One of the other ones I've had too is a motorbike accident. When I was on the motorbikes with the kids, I was borrowing a friend's motorbike, and we had like a really big pile, probably about 3 meters long pile of gravel. And I went to hit the jump, slow down, but I'm normally used to like a brake, a foot brake. And I went to hit the foot brake with my friend's motorbike, not knowing where the brake was, and found out that the brake was on the handlebar, and I ended up hitting the jump at full speed, and I got airborne for about 10 feet, 10 to 15 feet, and I landed head first up after the jump on the flats, and
Wow.
the motorbike wheel was not facing in the same direction as the handlebars, and I had to straighten it out a bit. And yeah, I showed no one saw it, it was just me. So I saw the mark from where I landed, and then I just measured it out and was like, that's a pretty big jump.
So you walked away from
I
it.
walked away from it.
The motorbike, not so much.
The motorbike was not so bad. But the fact it was a friend's motorbike, I put it back together before they came and saw the damage.
Do
Okay.
they know, or are they going to watch this and now know?
I think they did know, because
Okay.
I think I told them about the accident. But yeah, it was just one of many. But it was a good experience to get out of it. I think I would never want to go that fast again, and I always make sure I know where the brake is before going on a new motorbike and going at full speed.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, yeah. You've lived on the edge. You can step back
I've
a few
done that
steps
one.
now.
Yeah.
You've done
That's
that
right.
one.
Wow. Yeah. So, but you've had a number of these experiences.
Yeah.
Near death.
Like in the year 2000, I had a car accident. I was traveling the speed limit at going 100 k's an hour, and there was a car, like there was a vineyard truck, a ute with a trailer on the back, and he had a full trailer of grapes. And so there's a bit of like, I'm not quite sure if it was frost, but it was probably more like the road was a little bit wet, and so he was going too fast, and he braked too sudden at the end, and the brakes locked up, and he travelled into a stationary car in front of him, and the car got pushed out into the main road, and then I ended up ploughing into the car that got pushed out in the main road at 100 k's an hour, and me and my brother were in the car, and the car spun around 270 degrees, and all 4 tires had burst, and yeah, it was a pretty big accident. We ended up walking away from it. I thought the car was going to blow up, because you watch it in the movies, and you have an accident, you think it's going to explode, but it didn't explode. I just turned the car off and walked out, and so did the other car, and there was 2 other cars involved, and yeah, we just walked away from it. I was bleeding through my forehead from hitting my head on the steering wheel. My brother had whiplash, Dan, but it took us about 2 or 3 years to get our back straight again
Wow.
after the accident,
Okay.
just with rehab and whatnot.
Right. So it was a significant. This one was.
It was pretty
You
big.
didn't just walk away.
No. Yeah. We walked away, but we had a bit of injuries to go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did all those experiences shape you? Did you walk away just with a new perspective on life, or was it just they happen so often it was just normal?
I think I was thankful each time, and yeah, they were a bit of an inconvenience, but yeah, it was a blessing in disguise. Yeah, especially at such a high speed. Yeah, like I just remember just before I hit the other car, I ended up turning a little bit to the left, and I ended up hitting the driver's back seat passenger door, and so I missed the driver by a little bit because I turned left, and if I kept on going straight, I probably would have. Yeah, he probably wouldn't be around. So he was grateful that he could walk out of it. He got hit in the back, he got hit in the side, and then he ended up going into the vineyards that were on the side of the road, and so yeah, his car was stuck in the vineyards. But yeah, just another God incidents. Yeah, another one to share with you is I also had a hiking trip when I was in Nepal, and yeah, I was hiking and I was with a mate. Always, if you're going to go hiking, always go with at least one other person, if not two others, to keep safe. And so this particular time, my ankle twisted when I was on the edge of a cliff, and I ended up looking over the edge of the cliff. It was probably about 60 meters below me, which was a quite high cliff, and 2/3 of my body were hanging over the cliff.
Wow.
And I couldn't move because the back of my backpack was so heavy at the bottom that it stopped me from going over the edge. And my mate had to go and grab my ankles and pull me off the edge of the cliff so that I could actually get up and keep on going with the hike. But yeah, it was a very scary circumstance looking over the edge of a cliff, knowing that I could have gone over the edge of a cliff with like water, and there's a river down below and big rocks, and very thankful to be alive from that point on.
But somehow you just
I still survived.
didn't go over the edge. The thing is that these things happen, and suddenly, like, you just say, "Oh well, he sounds like he's definitely going to fall off the cliff now," but then you don't, or that you definitely had some brain injury or something when you fell off the motorbike. But
no brain injury
you're
each
fine.
time. Yeah, I was quite fine.
You're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Now I better let you ask this important question. This is one Sarah likes to ask.
It is like the most important question of the whole interview.
What's that?
And it is, how did you meet your significant other person in your life?
We first met once at a camp. She doesn't remember me though. But
was that sad for you that she doesn't remember?
No, I remember Nikki, my wife Nikki.
What did she look like? Do you remember what she was wearing and stuff?
A little bit. She was wearing a top and a skirt.
That's good enough. Good
enough.
Yeah. And I remember her having a camera around her neck, and she was taking lots of photos of everyone at the camp. And she was particularly taking photos around basketball, I think. We met at State Youth Games, which is like a Christian camp where you go and play games for the whole long weekend. And so I think they went Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And yeah, I remember having a chat with her, and it wasn't probably until about 3 or 5 years later that we ended up catching up again, and she ended up coming and visiting my church, and apparently they were just coming for a visit, but also maybe with some ulterior motives as well, maybe looking for guys. So
well, it was a successful operation then, it feels like.
Yeah, so we ended up catching up, and she kept coming back to the church for a little while, and so then we ended up going out one particular night. She had a friend's birthday party, and she invited me to come too, and I dropped my brother back at home, who was with me, church, and I dropped him off at the top of the driveway. Otherwise I probably wouldn't have had the permission to go back out for the rest of the night. So I dropped him off home, and then I came back and went out to Glenelg, and we had a good time and good night, and Nikki was there with her friend Jackie, and got to meet her as well, and yeah, so that was very good times. And I remember we went for a walk on the beach at night time, and it had thunder and lightning, and it was raining, and we had to find cover, and yeah, it was a good time.
Did you give her your jacket?
I might have. I'm not sure.
course he did. Yeah, it's your story. Yeah,
We'll get her in for
I
her
can't
side.
exactly remember
Fine.
that.
yeah, nice. Well, Josh,
I remember having a talk underneath on a park bench outside the side of a building, but
we'll pause it there.
rain.
Yeah,
Pause it
hang
there
on.
and find out what happened
No,
next.
I want to know more anyway. So this is Life Burst with Matt and Sarah. We're chatting with Josh. We're going to come back and find out how Josh proposed to Nikki. Welcome back to Life Burst with Matt and Sarah. Today we're chatting with Josh, and I realized that we actually have a photo of something that you did straight after you met Nikki, who's now your wife, before you proposed to her. And it's that you went to Nepal. So you've just met this beautiful woman and now you've just gone off to Nepal.
I met Nikki, and then about 2.5 weeks later, I decided to go away for 2.5 months to Nepal. So did some hiking. I did 3 particular hikes around different parts of Nepal with some other people. And the hikes went for about 3 or 4 days, sometimes maybe 5 days, I reckon. And then I had one which lasted 12 or 13 days. Myself and a mate, Jono, we ended up doing Everest Base Camp and stuff together and hiked up there. And yeah, that was a big experience. And we went in the middle of winter, so there wasn't many people going for hiking around that particular time of the year. And it's quite cold that particular time of the year as well. But in winter, it doesn't snow. In the summertime, it snows. Yeah, so that's a different experience.
Why does it not snow in wintertime?
Because the rain comes in the summertime. And so that turns into snow at Everest Base Camp. But in wintertime, it's quite cold, but it doesn't have the snow. So it's a bit of the opposite to what we think it would be. So it was actually, the paths to Everest Base Camp were quite clear. We had a little bit of snow, but it was just a sprinkle. It was quite nice. Yeah.
I love the picture. Not all our listeners will be able to see it, but it's not a picture of you hanging off of Everest, but it's of some locals. So we met some locals along the way.
Yeah, it was great meeting other local kids and families as well. The kids had an interesting time looking at how a camera works and having the photograph taken for the first time. And I also met some there's some Nepalese people, and there was some Tibetan people as well. We headed to a different direction on one of our particular trips, me and Jono did. And it was a pretty big trip. One of our people that we were hiking with ended up getting food poisoning, so he ended up staying behind with the family while me and Jono kept on going and got there. And then we stayed there for one night in the middle between villages. And we camped out with half a thermarest each, and we had a sleeping bag each, and we shared the thermarest head to head. So we did that at night time, and we thought it was safer than trying to go back in the middle of the night. So yeah.
So you just hiked around, and at night time you just camped in the snow in a tent?
We just camped in between towns, and there was no tent. There was just a sleeping bag and a thermarest. A thermarest is a pumped up air mattress that you sleep on, so it makes it a little bit more comfortable to sleep on than just sleeping on rock or mud. So yeah.
There you go. Wow. So you mentioned that with the locals, they were interested in the camera. Photography's been a big part of your life, a big love of yours as well.
Yeah. I think photography first started when I met my wife-to-be, Nikki. We ended up going and taking photos at doing landscapes. And Nikki was studying photography at the time, and I just finished studying graphic design, and I was helping her a little bit with her graphic design subjects in a photography course. And so we enjoyed going out for day trips and going out for sunrises and sunsets and taking landscapes together, and used as a bonding time as well. And there was a particular time when I came back from Nepal, I gave Nikki at the airport when I was leaving some notepads and paper and some envelopes as a bit of a hint to try and write to me while I was away. And
That's so romantic. I was going to ask if you did anything like that while you were away, considering like you just met her and stuff.
yeah, we ended up sending emails as well, but on dial-up internet in Nepal, it took forever. And so I was often using the computer for like half an hour just to try and get one email that came through as well. And we kept in contact. And I did a bit of a surprise for Nikki when coming back from Nepal. Because of local unrest that was in Nepal at the time, with the Maoists trying to take over the king that was there. We got one of the last flights out back to Australia, me and Jono, who I was with, and I ended up surprising Nikki and my parents as well. I ended up arriving back into the airport with no one to welcome me, and I took all my luggage, which was 35 kilos of luggage, and I walked from the airport, Adelaide Airport, back to the middle of the city to get there to be in time for my friend's wedding. And so I got there to the wedding in time, and friends gave me a lift back halfway back to Happy Valley, and I dropped off half my luggage with them, and then I left and walked through the rest of the day from about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I got home at about 10:30 to surprise my parents at the door. I knocked on the door and surprised them, and they were quite surprised. And Dad's like, "Who's this at the door at like 10:30 at night?" And I walked pretty much from Happy Valley to McLaren Flat to just on my own.
It's
I was
a long
used to
way.
hiking.
I was about to say, I'm like, you're used to hiking, so that doesn't really surprise me that you would do something like that.
Yeah, so it was about a 15-20k walk.
Yeah,
whereas when I was hiking in Nepal, we're probably doing about 35, sometimes 40k's.
Small stuff then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up and down at an altitude of 1.5 kilometers in height as well when we're in Nepal. So you go up the hill and down to the valley and up to the next hill and cross a few bridges. And yeah, the bridges were quite scary. Sometimes there's like a missing piece in the bridge, and
In Nepal.
and in
Wow.
Nepal the bridge would sway left and right up to like 6 feet either side over like a massive river. So, but yeah, when I arrived back in Adelaide, I also surprised Nikki. I got her one of her best friends to take her out for dinner, and then I surprised by rocking up for dinner. And yeah, I had some friends of mine play violin and some musical instruments and stuff outside the restaurant that she was going to be at. And then I rocked up and surprised her and said, "Here I am." And she didn't really expect to see me. She just thought she was having a romantic. She thought
Just a
she was
dinner.
having a time with a
Just
friend.
Yeah, not a
And
romantic
I
dinner.
think I did it on Valentine's Day as well. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
So yeah.
well done.
Instead of expecting to have a
Valentine's
message from me via, like, she had a card from me, like a letter, as well as me rocking up at the same time. And then, yeah, her friend passed her over to me and we had a nice romantic dinner together. So,
Amazing.
but yeah, at that stage, we're just still friends. And I probably thought it was a bit more romantic than probably what I was expecting.
Like someone's like
Right.
music at the
Yeah,
restaurant.
taking it up a level,
You
yeah.
really
Wow.
had. You must have really liked this girl.
Yeah, I did. And one of the things that Nikki was a bit bummed out about is the fact that she had made about a 6-meter long banner that says "Welcome home, Josh." And so she's like, "What am I going to do now?" So she organised with my mum, I think, or my parents, to come and visit me first thing in the morning, a day or two later. And I woke up and I had a gourmet breakfast with like fruit and I think pancakes, and she really treated me to that. And she had the banner outside the front of the house, and I was quite taken back by the long banner that she had made for me, and I didn't really expect to see it. And so she's like, "I had to get you back for what you did to me with surprising me." So yeah, I think she'd already organised the banner before I even got back. So yeah.
Yeah.
What a true romance story. Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
It's good. Wow, we're looking forward to hearing some more. You've certainly survived many things so far in your story, and there's
Yeah.
more of Josh's story to come. This is Life Bursts with Sarah and Matt.
Welcome back to Life Bursts with Matt and Sarah. We're chatting with Josh. Now, at the beginning of the program, I did say there was something on the table, and if you're listening, you still have no idea what it is until now. They are rollerblades on the table, because we're talking about in the beginning of your life
Yep.
that you're doing some crazy things, Josh, jumping over chairs and stuff with rollerblades. But moved on from that. If you missed that, just catch up with the show. You've moved into ice skating now, or
Skiing.
skiing. Yeah, from the
Not ice skating,
rollerblades.
just skiing.
Did you ever try ice skating?
I did try ice skating and I enjoyed it as a kid. My best friend at the time, he got me into ice skating, and so I really enjoyed it. And then from there, yeah, like I said, I got my first pair of rollerblades at 13, and
Right.
and then Nikki, my wife, introduced me to skiing. So
This is snow skiing, is it?
yeah, snow skiing. So that journey started in 2008. Nikki applied for a few jobs to take photos in the snow, and it's something she wanted to do in her childhood. And so the opportunity came up in 2008 for her to take photos, and I was doing house cleaning at the same time that season, and there was someone that was taking photos that left after a week or two, and I just jumped in, picked up a camera and started taking photos, and really enjoyed it as well. And yeah, we went from then taking landscape photos to doing action sport photos of kids doing jumps, and the idea is to yell to the people in the chairlift, come on down and get your jump photo taken, and they'd come on down, do the jump, get their photo taken, and we'd get a photo of them in the air and having fun, and they'd come past the shop and have a look and then buy it. So yeah, we enjoyed taking photos in 2008, and then we did the same in 2009, and both did snow photos, action photos, portraits as well, a little bit of that. And yeah, we got some more candid and portrait photos when we were living in Daydream Island for a little period of time as well.
Okay.
And another experience to have under the belt, and we had a good time travelling around and visiting all the sites around Daydream Island and Hamilton Island. And then, yeah, we ended up moving to Whistler and living in Whistler for 2010, 2011.
Now tell us where Whistler is.
Yeah, where's Whistler?
So Whistler is about an hour or two from Vancouver, which is in Canada, in British Columbia. And the particular time that we were living in Whistler, we were taking photos as well, doing more portraits and organised photos of people. And while we were there, we also were able to have a great opportunity to take photos of the Winter Olympics as well. We got paid to do that a little bit by the company that we're working for at the time, and we got to go to the medal ceremonies and see the ski jumping events and the cross country skiing and the bobsledding as well. So yeah, it was a great experience to have, and we also got to see the giant slalom on the mountain as well.
What's that?
Giant slalom is skiing really wide turns down the slopes, and the other skiing one is the slalom, which is tighter turns down the mountain. So we got to see the men's giant slalom, I think it was, at Whistler, and yeah, it was a great opportunity to see it. And also too, it was a great opportunity to ski because everyone was visiting the mountain to watch the events. The mountain was quite empty as well, and so we got to have a lot of great skiing time with good quality snow coverage, and yeah, it was a great time.
Brilliant.
So what's a good day to go skiing? Like what sort of snow do you need? What does that look like? What does the ground need to look like? What does the air need to look like? Talk us through a really good day.
A great day of skiing is having a dump of snow the night before and skiing, snowing during the night, and then skiing on a great bluebird day the very next day. Yeah, so that you can see where you're going, and
So that means no clouds, just
no clouds,
sunshine.
just sunshine.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and the good thing about being at Whistler is because the mountain's so large, at any particular time, 1/3 of the mountain generally is without fog. At least you can have it snowing above you, and then you could be in a part where it's nice and white down below you, or you can have it where you're actually skiing above when it's snowing, which is called an inversion, which means the clouds are pushed down and you can ski above the clouds. And down the bottom it's snowing, but up the top you can be above the clouds and enjoy a nice sunny day. Yeah.
Did you do that?
We try to do it as much as possible, yes.
Okay.
It's not as fun skiing in fog, but yeah, it's okay.
No, but skiing above the clouds.
Above the clouds is amazing, yes.
Yeah, cool.
Would
Yeah.
be.
Wow. So the adventures continue.
Yes.
And so you moved, so that you had that adventure, and then you came back to Australia. What happened after Whistler?
We felt a bit of a call to move to Bright, Victoria,
Oh, yeah.
which is at the bottom of Mount Hotham and Falls Creek. It's only about an hour and a half to 2 hours away in the wintertime, and about an hour in the summertime. And so we lived there, hoping to be there as much as possible. And we had our first daughter while we were living in Bright, Isabel. And that was a good experience. And then we ended up moving back to Adelaide, and we ended up having more quality time with family, and grandma was there, and yeah.
So
and
before
brother and
you
sister-in-law.
went to Canada, where were you living together?
We were living in Aberfoyle Park.
Okay. So you didn't go back to Aberfoyle, you went
We
over to Bright.
came back to Aberfoyle for about a month or two
Okay.
while we sussed out to see if we wanted to move to Bright, and we did that move, and yeah, and then we moved back.
So what I'm feeling is that like you packed up your life.
We did.
Okay. How do you do that? What do you keep? What do you get rid of? Talk us through the process.
We got rid of a lot of things. When we were over in Whistler, Canada, we put our stuff into a shipping container, and then when we got back, we pretty much got rid of probably half to 2/3 of that and kept the essentials. And yeah, found out that there's a lot of stuff we didn't need.
Right. Kept the camera and the rollerblade.
Kept the camera, the rollerblades. We had skis as well, and we kept the couch, and then
the banner.
some other stuff, and the banner. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But a big deal to have to
make a move.
sell it all and make the move.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff that you must have to get rid of.
There's a lot of stuff to get rid of.
Yeah.
What were the main things that you packed into the container first, and then when you came back from Canada that you were like, why did I even keep this?
Like clothes, horse, chairs, some tables, I think. Maybe an old washing machine we kept, but I think we still use that. But I can't remember what we kept. It's so long ago now.
Yeah.
So coming and having children, did that sort of change the game plan for life? You had some more family time when you came back to Adelaide?
So we had Isabel and Bright, and then when we came back to Adelaide, we had Haley and then Isaac as well. And Isaac is our youngest, and he's our son. And yeah, it's good family time to come back, and it was good living close by the Keith Stevenson Park and able to walk there from home and able to walk there to the school. And yeah, it was just great to be around. And we're kind of 45 minutes from grandma, 45 minutes from brother and sister-in-law. And yeah, it's kind of a triangle. We're kind of around the area, but not too close, not too far. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's like the biggest thing that had to change in your life when you had a child?
Probably working out how to spend time with the kids, and also working in with work as well. I think we did that fairly well, though. I'm quite happy with what we've been doing in that regard. And kind of we had to remove our office from the office and put it into our room, and one of our oldest daughter Isabel ended up going into that room and taking it as her own. So yeah, moving people around from one room to another. Yeah.
The challenge, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is Life Burst. We're chatting to Josh, and we'll hear more of his story and some wisdom he has to share right after this. Welcome back to Life Burst with Sarah and Matt. We're chatting to Josh. Lots of adventures along the way, but Josh, having children, having the family, does that mean there was no more snow, no more adventures?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But
Yeah.
we definitely felt like we were called to go back in 2018. So in 2018, my eldest daughter Isabel was 5, Haley was 3, and Isaac was probably about 1.5. And so we ended up going back for the season in 2018, the winter. And our eldest daughter Isabel, she went to Denham Plain School, which is in the snow line of the mountain. And so in her lunch breaks and breaks at school, she was able to toboggan and spend time in the snow. And on Friday, she was able to get private lessons from her principal of the school. And so skiing was very much a part of the schooling there and part of the experience. And Haley really enjoyed skiing as well. And she skied till she pretty much fell asleep on the chairlift. At which point I had to wake her up very calmly and say, "We need to get off the chairlift now, sweetie." And she skied pretty much till she fell asleep. So she was a little snow bunny, and Isaac was just getting used to the snow. He wasn't much of a fan, but he's definitely a fan now that we've been going back. Like we went back this year, and we went back last year as well, and just for family holidays and with family friends, and it's been a part of their experience growing up, and they always want to go back. And so, yeah, we always look forward to it.
What didn't Isaac like about the snow?
I think he didn't like getting cold.
Okay, that's understandable.
Yeah, he was very young though, and we had the pram at that particular point in time, and we put the front wheels on the toboggan and we pushed the pram around on the snow. And if you're trying to get a pram through the snow, you can do it on a toboggan, but trying to push it on wheels is very hard. But yeah, it was a great experience.
I was going to ask how you pushed a pram around in the snow.
Yes. To get him to sleep, we pushed him up and down the roads occasionally as well, and met some people on the mountain and had a few great chats with people. And yeah, had a lady that we invited back home for our dinner and got to meet the family. And yeah, it was a great opportunity to catch up with people. Yeah.
Brilliant. Now, Josh, for all of the challenges that you've been through, all of the adventures, the mountains you've climbed, one of your biggest challenges you've faced only in the last couple of years, something quite unexpected. Happy to share a little around that.
Yeah, sure. So in 2019, I came across a mental health issue. And so that was quite a setback for me and both the family. It was a bit of a hindrance for both, but we definitely see God's hand through it. And even when I was down with just some of the thoughts that I was having, through a period of relapse, I was able to come across a new medication that I'm now on, and it's brought me back to normal, and I can be myself once again, and I don't feel like I'm drugged up or don't feel like I'm struggling with the medication as much, and I'm able to be awake more throughout the day and definitely got a better quality to life, and I'm able to enjoy each day now, and been able to help at the cafe, one of the cafes I volunteer at as well, and now work at. So yeah, I've gone through a few things, and I've got some people to support and be by my side and help me go for walks, and I can talk things out with people and get my thoughts out in the open and be real encouraged by what they say. So yeah, I've definitely had a supporting hand from family, my wife, and kids as well, and family friends. So it's been encouraging.
Yeah, that's what helped you get through it.
Yeah, definitely. And God's helped through it too. Like, I don't think I've understood what it is more to have God's grace now than I've ever had before. And I've learned a lot of new lessons and skills, life lessons along the way. Being blessed with God's grace and yeah, he's helped me get through it all, which has been great.
What would you say to people who might at the moment be wrestling with everyone's journey is unique, but their own mental health challenges and struggles? What would you say?
God's there to get you through it, and His word's there to be encouraging and to be a light in your life, and He can get you through the hard and difficult and dark times in your life, and He's there, and He hasn't left you. He's just there beside you, and He helps you along the way in the journey. If you hear like a negative kind of thought, it's not from God, and if you just listen to the positive thoughts, then you know that God's with you, and He'll get you through it. Yeah.
Mm.
Thanks for sharing.
Mm.
No worries.
Thank you, because I know it can be when you're in it, not an easy journey to walk. And love that you been able to come through it to an extent, and that you're able to look at the positives, and you had all of that around that you've described, but not an easy road when you're in it.
That's correct.
And a long one at times.
Yeah, so it's been about 3 years of a journey to get better, and I feel a lot better now than where I was like 3 years ago, and I seem to constantly get better from here on out, which has been great. And pray for no more relapses, and that we just continue to get through it each day. And something that I'd encourage people listening is that He's got you every step of the way, and and just the fact of living life to the fullest and enjoying it as much as possible with everything that you do. Like, I would have never realized I've gone from skating to skiing and being a skiing family that now loves it, and being there not only with my wife but also having my kids being a part of it as well, and just enjoy the moments and stuff with the family as you can. And we've tried to make that a priority as much as possible, to put family first and put each other first as well. And God's always there to be with us as well. So,
and are you hopeful that skiing will be a part of your future in some form?
Yes, I definitely am.
Look at that smile.
Fantastic.
That's excellent. Now, with the final 2 minutes left of our show, if you had one piece of advice, Josh, you've already shared so much, but if you had one piece of advice to share with those watching and listening today, what would that be?
Just living life to the fullest and enjoying it, being there with friends and family, and not forgetting those moments, but making every moment count, and making sure God's a part of it as well. And that's what I recommend. Excellent.
Well, I don't think there's any part of your story that contradicts that. It's definitely, I've learned some things about the adventures you've had, the challenges you've certainly lived at every moment.
Cool. Thanks
and
for having
thank
me.
you. Thanks for being so open to sharing about what's been happening recently in your life as well, and to share about what it was like growing up too. And so people can really see that you've come from here, but now you're here, and you've done all this awesome stuff. And I'm sure there'll be people out there that will connect with your story as well. So thank you, Josh.
Thank you very much.
This has been Life Burst. You can catch up with us wherever you get your podcasts from. You can online, on Facebook, YouTube, and of course on community television and community radio. I'm Sarah.
I'm Matt. We love hearing your stories, and we hope that you do too. So thanks so much for joining us.
Life Bursts is hosted by Matthew Karat and Sarah Freeman, with production by Reese Jarrett and Kay Hoshraw Ozadigan. For more episodes of Life Bursts, go to rawcut.com.au. This is a RawCut production.